Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of AnglersChannel.com video. It is January the 16th, 2013. We're with AnglersChannel.com Pro Staffer and Ranger Pro Staffer Rob Digh. And, you know, it's this time of year where everybody's planning out all the tournaments for the next 6 months. And, by the way, if you haven't gone to the tournaments page of AnglersChannel.com and looked at all the updated tournaments, you're missing out, because we're not totally complete yet with updating everything, but most of it is, and it really, really looks good, and it'll help you in your planning. And Rob, with that, you know, fishing season has kicked off because the Everstart just finished up down at Okeechobee. AnglersChannel.com's Vance McCullough was there. He's got some great blog posts that you all need to go check out on our blog. And the fishing was good. You know, the 3-day total was 60 pounds. The final day, I think, was 25. I mean, that's the type fishing guys wait for 11 months a year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think they were it's a jam-packed tournament. I mean, I don't think they could take one more contestant, but you know, a lot of guys want to get out of the cold and go to Florida. And the Big O's a great place to fish, and you know, you can go down there and not catch 20 pounds and still have a great time. So, and I had some friends that done that, but 25 pounds a day, you know, that's a great fishery, and it's going to be that way for years to come, John. And
well, the lake levels are back up, which is a big key.
Yeah, you know, they got a lot of vegetation growth, and it's going to be a, you know, interesting year. You know, when the FLW tour gets there, to see what happens with those guys. I think it's going to be some really nice weights coming.
Yeah, and don't forget, the Bassmaster Elite Series goes there this year too. So Okeechobee's got a lot on the calendar.
Yes, it does. But you know, it's big enough to handle the pressure. So it's there's going to be some big stringers come out, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, all the Florida lakes the past year have been really, really good. You know, we tracked that Accent Marine Team Trail down on the Kissimmee chain, and every week somebody's catching 25, 28, 29 pounds. It's really just phenomenal. With that being said, we also have a lot of team trails which are back for 2013. Some are expanding. The payouts are tremendous, as everybody saw from last year. You know, let's start out with, you know, one that really made a big bang last year, and that was the Carolinas Bass Challenge. You know, Brett Collins and Foothills Marine and Marshall's Marine put that on, and I want to say there were multiple first-place payouts last year between $10,000, $11,000, $12,000. They gave away multiple boats at the championship. Rob, you know, what's in for year two with those guys? I mean, they really kind of took the Southeast by storm.
Yeah, they did. You know, they turned a lot of people's heads last year, and I fished one of the events, and you know, this year I'm gonna fish at least 3 of them to qualify for the regional down here on Wiley. And it's you know, as we talked in the past, team trails are a great way to you know, give a lot of these guys incentive, including myself. With the gas prices and with the economy, you can win so much more money, especially with Brett Collins and what Skeeter has done there. It's just unbelievable at the money that they're going to be paying back this year overall, John. And it's a great deal, and I look forward to fishing them.
Well, and that's why, hey, there were several tournaments last year we covered for CBC, which had 200-plus boats. So I think the first event on Norman was 220. So, I mean, guys are really interested in it. The paybacks get everybody's attention. That's an exciting thing. Don't forget 2 divisions for the CBC. You have the North Carolina division and the South Carolina division. Moving up to Virginia a little bit, we got the Angler's Choice Marine Team Trail going into its 5th or 6th year. They averaged 200-plus boats last year. Phenomenal team trail. They're adding a North Carolina division this year, Robbie.
Yeah, I've seen that, John. And, you know, there's a lot of choices out here for fishermen. I was marking my calendar trying to figure out what I'm going to fish, and there's something going on every weekend. There's a lot of opportunities out here for the fishermen, which is you know, is unbelievable in this economy. So it's going to be a great year, guys. You got to get out there and fish some of these tournaments, and there's going to be a lot of money to win, not counting, you know, some of these hourly tournaments that's going to be going on throughout the regions.
Oh, yeah, the Oakley Big Bass has got a big trail coming back in 2013, hitting a lot of our area lakes, so make sure you check them out on our tournaments page. Berkeley's Big Bass Challenge will be back. I talked to Andrew Marks the other day, and the schedule hadn't been released, but as soon as it is, we'll have that up. That's a great tournament. And then, you know, we've got Tom's Marine Team Trail up in East Tennessee, which is a great team trail on Cherokee and Douglas. We've got some of the Florida trails, Accent Marine, and we can go on and on and on. HD Marine out of Atlanta's got a smaller trail. The one in Alabama, Airport Marine's got a great trail. They fish some really good lakes down there. But I tell you, I think we're lucky from the standpoint that 2 or 3 of the biggest team trails in the country are in our backyard from a pure number standpoint.
They are, John, and you know, a lot of money. It's just, like I say, it's unbelievable that the money is going to be out there to be won. And you know, when you can go out and have a couple $100 entry fee and go out and fish for $10,000 or $15,000, guys, I mean, that's unbelievable. You know, you can't leave out too. You know, we're gonna have the BFLs, Bassmaster weekends. I mean,
Opens.
The open. There's gonna be a lot of fishing going on, and so you know, it's gonna be an exciting year, John.
Now, I'll tell you what, looking at some of the schedules with these new divisions that several of the team trails have added, the one lake that really has hit several schedules multiple times is Gaston. You know, Gaston's a lake that everybody's familiar with, but it's not always fished at the level that it's going to be fished this year. Robbie, what are your thoughts on Gaston?
Yeah, it's a great fishery. I know several guys that live up there. It's full of docks. You know, it will remind you somewhat of Norman, but it's got way bigger fish in it. And what I mean by reminding you of Norman, it's got, you know, the shoreline, lots of houses, lots of docks, but it's got some really nice fish in it. A lot of 4, 5, 6 pound fish, and it usually takes, you know, 19 to 20 plus pounds up there to win a one-day tournament. I would be looking forward to going to Gaston myself. So it's a great lake, great place to visit.
Hey, let's talk about some of the, you know, the one-time only tournaments that have grown exponentially in size. You know, we've got on Guntersville coming up, I believe, on February 2nd is the Rattle Trap Open, which is in its second year. I think $3,000 guaranteed first place, going out of Goose Pond. We just posted that yesterday. That's going to be a big one. All the Snag Proof Opens are back for 2013. We've also got a couple new ones. We got the Buckeye Lures Open on Lake Murray, April 28th, $5,000 guaranteed first place. That's on the tournaments page of Anglers Channel. We've got, I mean, there are multiple, you know, one-day tournaments that are kicking off lots and lots of cash. There's another big tournament that same weekend, I think on Saturday, is the Kicks 99 Radio out of Augusta, Georgia, is having an open on Clarks Hill Lake with $10,000 guaranteed first place. Clarks Hill's a lake that the last 3 years has really been affected by A, water levels, and B, there just hasn't been a lot of vegetation in that lake. But last year, a lot of the local anglers at Clarks Hill were telling me that the grass is coming back, and they expect this spring to be the best spring on Clarks Hill in years.
Yeah, you know, John, that can be a great fishery if they'll let some of the grass come back. And it is a great fishery regardless, but, you know, the grass helps so much with the reproduction of the fish, and that lake's got herring in it. So, you know, in April is a great time to fish down there when the herring are spawning, but it's going to be a great spring at Clarks Hill, and you're going to see some bigger fish come out of there because the grass is coming back. And, you know, that's the number one thing to grow big bass, John. And not to say all these tournaments that are out there, John, you know, you've got all these things listed on the internet, and there's so many of them. You got to go to your site, to John's site, and look at them so you can keep up with all this, because it's unbelievable that you can keep up with all of it. There's so many of them out there.
We can. I mean, it's all, you know, to sit here, we could pull the screen up and we'd be just sitting here reading you off the screen for 30 minutes on all the tournaments that are listed. But I tell you, these opens are catching on big time. The team trails are probably as strong as they've been in 10 years or more. And then obviously BFL, Bassmaster Weekend, Southern Opens, Elites, Tour, you name it, it's out there. There's just a lot going on, and there's a lot of opportunity for the grassroots angler who doesn't have the time or the money to commit to being a pro to go out and make some real money.
It is. And one lake that we hadn't touched is Santee Cooper. And, you know, a lot of the bigger tournaments, they're kind of skirting it this year. And talking about Clarks Hill, I think this year on Santee, too, is going to be one of the best years you've seen down there in 5 or 6 years because the grass is coming back down there. And you're going to see some really nice bags of fish come out of there.
Well, I think if we look back to last spring, there were some tournaments down there that were generating, you know, 28, 30, 32-pound bags, and I can't remember specifically what those tournaments were, but I just remember the weights coming over the internet were really, really impressive. And you fish that fishery a lot. You know it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been down there a couple times this fall, and the grass, like I say, is coming back some, and a lot of vegetation in there. The fish last year had an unbelievably spawn because they had the grass in there, and that's what it takes. It takes a couple years to get those juvenile fish up big enough where they can be adults, and it's going to be, it's going to be another Gunnersville, or if not better. And it was like that in the '80s, but we'll wait and see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you what, the other thing people do talk about, but it's kind of forgotten about the year after is, Gunnersville in 2010, 2011 was absolutely on fire. But I think the pressure that was put on that lake in 11 and 12 affected some of the weights in 2012. I mean, every weekend there were 15, 20 tournaments going on. You went down there in 2011, you couldn't find a parking place at any of the ramps on Gunnersville for like 5 months in a row. So, just it changes, and that means more opportunity for a lot of area and regional anglers to go out and take advantage of. So, hey, man, obviously from this conversation, everybody's excited. There's a lot to look forward to.
It is, and when we get off this interview here, I might go fishing right now. You got me so pumped up, but it is going to be a great year. A lot of money out there to be won, and all I can say is, go after it and be safe.
Yeah, and hey, don't forget, when you get on the tournaments page of AnglerChannel.com, we've got it categorized for you. You'll see 4 tabs at the top. You'll have team trails, open tournaments, and so on that you can click right on and then go straight to what you're looking for. Things are in alphabetical order, and maps of all the lakes come up, and all the details on payouts and links to their websites and contacts. So it's a really, really friendly, I think, user service for you all. And if you have any comments, please let us know. And Rob, welcome to 2013. We're ready to go. If you're fishing a tournament this weekend, be safe on the water. If not, we'll see you next week.